Hey, it's time for another edition of the original Roundtable with Ian Fitzsimmons. I'm Lance Taylor. It's brought to you by MyBookie. Remember, use that code NEXTROUND to secure first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. I'm coming off a big win last night, Ian. I had Duke. Now, behind the scenes, I told people
stop. No. When you have a lock like that, can I get a text message?
You normally text me.
Unless you want me to pay for Lance's lock, which I'm more than happy to do because it is you're one of the best handicappers I've ever been around. But if you love a game like that, come on. Hook a brother up.
I will be honest. I didn't think Clemson had gotten as bad as they had at the skill positions. I love Will Shipley. Will Shipley's a hell of a player, but they just don't have the receivers they had. But anyway, I was telling Brown yesterday, he said, so Duke's the play tonight? And I said, yeah, and I think they're going to win the game outright. Now, I didn't think they're going to win 28-7. And, or early on, the self-inflicted mistakes from Duke, I was like, son of a bitch, man, they're not going to be able to survive this. But then Clemson turns around and they shit the bed. I'm blown away where Clemson is right now. And I know a new OC in Garrett Riley, but to score 7 points against Duke and Mike Elko, we talked about him last week. I love me some Mike Elko.
He's a beast, man.
But damn, what has happened to Clemson?
A couple things. One, and this little tidbit for you. I'm not a big stat guy, as you know, Lance. That hasn't changed since the time we set foot.
Do I whip those stats?
No. God, dude, you mother whipped the hell out of me, man, with a freaking lead shank riding crop. I mean, you name it, bull whip. I don't care. You are money. You will money whip a stat like no other. But this one was interesting. Dabo Swinney was, I think, 59-0 when his team threw for over 200 and ran for over 200. That happened last night. Yeah. He's now 59-1 or 58-1.
It's hard to lose when you have that kind of balance on offense. So I don't know if you can. I didn't think the play calling was creative necessarily. They made some terrible mistakes, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, but that's not play calling, man. I mean, Garrett Riley didn't fumble the ball inside the 10 twice.
Right. I'm just saying I didn't think it was there wasn't creative play calling. Not that you needed it because you went over 400 yards and you had an opportunity to score in those situations. What blows me away is another stat that I saw is there's 52 4- or 5-stars on that Clemson roster, and there were 2 on the field for Duke.
Yeah, and that goes to show you also, I mean, recruiting is a lifeblood. We all know that. But you're going to miss on some 4- and 5-stars, and you're going to hit on, a 0. Like Rashad Johnson played, 10 years in the NFL? 10. He was a 0-star coming out of some small school in Alabama, goes on to be an All-American safety and spent a decade in the NFL.
Yeah, sometimes I think J.J. Watt was like a 1-star or 2-star.
I just had Florida State LSU. I had a long conversation with Jared Burst last week and then pregame on the field before they went in and padded up. This dude was a 0-star, not a zilch, coming out of high school in Pennsylvania. And he said, look, I was undersized also. I was about, 6'3", maybe 225, 230. But he goes, I was better than Albany. That's not a dig at Albany. The Great Danes gave him his only shot. That was the only ride he had, was to go play D3 ball. Now he's going to be a top 10 NFL pick. So sometimes guys grow into a body. Sometimes guys don't get any better than they were in high school as a 5-star. They're crushing everybody at that level, but their game doesn't go to another level. And look, that's number one is as far as Clemson, but also Dabo refuses to hit the portal. And go back, you and I talked about this years ago, Lance. For people who may not remember, Mike Krzyzewski, the great Coach K, when one and dones first came into college basketball, he said he was not going to do it. He was not going to recruit any player that was going to be one and done. And what happened those first 2 years?
They didn't play well.
He got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
Right? And then what does Coach K do? He
one
adapts.
And done.
He adapts.
Kyrie Irving, Zion Williams.
Come on, hell, keep going down the list, man. Yes. I mean, he adapted, he improvised, and he changed with the times. Nick Saban was a grounded pound coach. When was the last time you saw a quarterback under center for Nick Saban? He's improvised. He's adapted with the times. Dabo has to embrace NIL. It's not name, image, and likeness. It's legal. He has to embrace the portal. And I know what he said about the portal. I'm not going to go poach another man's roster. We want our type players here. And okay, Well, you don't hit on every one of your recruits that you did believe was your type of player. Look at the former Georgia receiver Mitchell, who's now at Texas, and Alabama's going to have to deal with him this weekend. He's a beast, right? He didn't choose Texas at first, but Sark went, yeah, we'll take you. You're our kind of player.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing.
A lot of these guys
you
anyway,
don't poach.
Lance.
They're going to poach your guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just I don't get it because Dabo was always considered a player's coach and a guy that got the first barbershop in the locker room and a slide. And if you're going to do all that shit, I mean, step it up. It's not like they weren't paying players before. I find it hard to believe that the Trevor Lawrences of the world just rolled in there without getting an extra benefit.
Well, again, now it stands for now it's legal. And so he has to embrace the portal. He has to embrace NIL. But I'm not writing Clemson off. Like right now, everyone's talking about 0-12. I mean, that's what the feeling is after last night. This squad has won at least 10 games for 12 straight years. I'm not going to write them off. I'm not writing them off.
Very good coach. But you were there at Camping World Stadium on Sunday night.
Yep.
And, you know, it was one of the probably three. I mean, you had Colorado, which we'll get to. We're just talking about Duke last night. But probably one of the top three surprises was not that LSU lost the game, how they played in the second half and how Florida State played in the second half. But watching Florida State, they look like a Clemson roster from 4 or 5 years ago that was winning national championships. So to me, it's one game, very knee-jerk, but it looks like the power shift has swapped when it comes to the ACC. And it looks like Florida State is that team right now.
Yeah, and you know what Mike Norvell did? Exactly what we were just talking about. He went and hit the portal for spots of need and for guys that he believes fit the culture and what his program is all about. Look at Keon Coleman. I mean, Keon Coleman, 9 catches for $122 and 3 tuds. And you know where he's from, Lance? Opelousas. Yeah, but Opelousas, Louisiana. He played at Op High. And he told me he went to Michigan State to learn how to get acclimated to playing in cold weather. And this is as a high school senior. So quote, when I go to the league, I've played in cold weather before, being a guy from Louisiana. And he also wanted to play for a position coach that had NFL experience with Courtney Hawkins at Michigan State, 9-10 years in the league. So then he decided for his last year, this was his game plan coming out of high school. He goes, I'm a Southern boy. I'm going back to my roots. But he went to Florida State. It was a great pickup by Mike Norvell. It was a position of need to go opposite Johnny Wilson. And so you got Johnny Wilson at 6'7", 240. By the way, he's a legit 6'7".
Yeah, he looks all of 6'7" on the field.
He's a beautiful specimen. And on the other side, you got 6'4", 230, and Keon Coleman now. And where Coleman come from? Yeah, Michigan State. He hit the portal. You know, I mean, one of their DBs, Syracuse guy. You know, Lovett is a Mississippi State transfer last year. So he hits the portal for spots of need, and that's something Dabo's got to do. And Florida State's done it as well as anybody. And by the way, man, they were physical on both sides of the ball. That front seven and that O-line, damn, LT, they are legit.
Hey, it's the original Roundtable. It's brought to you by Lance's Lock. Again, coming off that nice winner last night with Duke. We had a winning weekend in college football last year, 57%. We're going to crush it again for you. Jump on board, lanceslock.com. We have daily service. We've got weekly. We've got monthly. We've got an annual. Jump on board. We're going to win for you at lanceslock.com. You know what's amazing about this, talking about Keon Coleman? So Mel Tucker made roughly $100 million by using transfer portal in 1 year and getting guys like Kenneth Walker over. And now he's losing his best players. I mean, if I am, and I don't know if it's the Rocket Mortgage, Dan Gilbert, I don't know who the collective is. Supposedly has a lot of money, the collective in East Lansing. But, boy, I am pissed if I start losing players. That's the reason I paid you what I'm paying you.
Yeah, but, you know, you see every team doing it. And like I said, Keon had a plan, right? He was only going up there for 2 years, and then he was going to come back down south. But he's lost other guys. But, you know, look, man, we were just talking about Mitchell at Texas, you know, the wide receiver. Where did he transfer from?
Georgia.
Everywhere. You know, Trey Sanders at TCU, running back. You know,
Alabama, Jermaine Burton, Georgia to Bama.
So it's going to happen with any program for guys not getting a lot of run early in their careers. My hat always goes off to the guys that stay, and compete. Like Mac Jones behind Jalen Hurts and Tua. He got his 1 year, really, let's be honest, really 1 full year to shine. And he did. And he parlays that into a first-round draft pick. You know, you look at Carson Beck right now at Georgia. You know, Williams at D end. It's his time to shine, right? It's Carson Beck's time. He sat for 2 years. He could have transferred and didn't. Those are the guys I really respect, and those are the programs that I also respect. You're not going to keep all of them, but those players that do stay, and get that one full year under the how many people knew about Nolan Smith going into last season? Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot.
You know, and next thing you know, he's a first-round draft pick. Even with coming off a torn pec, he was a first-round pick.
Hey, so back to the game. So you covered LSU and Florida State, and one of those guys, Grant Nussmeier, he said, "Look, I love this program.
Yep.
I know I'm not starting next year. It's Jaden Daniels' team, but I'm going to wait my turn." But my question to you is, look, I think Jaden Daniels is good, but when you're jumping in the arms of a middle linebacker and you're that reckless out there, I don't know if
all people, but he's not
unbelievable. And they wanted a personal foul. What the hell is he supposed to do? I didn't think he was going to get up from that, but the way he runs the ball, reckless abandonment. He led the team in rushing last year. He led the team in rushing week 1. I don't know if he can hold up again another season. But even if he doesn't, if he gets inconsistent, I mean, do you think there's a plan for Nussmeier to come in?
Not right now, no. I mean, Jaden Daniels, the team captain. I mean, and coming into that game, look, Lance, let's just get into this game for a second. If that's all right with you, because it's 17 all. And there were 3 plays, and you and I talked about a little bit of this off air.
Well, hey, it was 14-7 with a minute to go in the first half, LSU.
Yeah, absolutely. But you fast forward. Let me start at the beginning. That play with Bradford, number 32 for LSU, wasn't on our depth charts, man. That was a pre-designed first play from watching film of Florida State. And if you're a defender, you're going, who the hell's 32? Where's Kane? Where's Williams? Who's this guy? You're not expecting him to get the ball. It was a great play design.
Wide open.
By LSU. Down the field, you're inside the red zone in one play. Now, fast forward, right? That you've had that in your hip pocket the entire time. Now it's 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. They said 4th and 1. I was kneeling right there, LT. The ball was barely inside the 2-yard line. I'm sitting there going, you know what? Take the points. Just take the points, man. They don't. They get stuffed. They had 5 trips inside the red zone in the first half and came away with only 17 points. But you look at that start of the game and then the 4th and 2 right around the 50. 17 all, Lance, with 3:03 to go in the third quarter. They got trips right, single left. They flood the zone to the left. You know, I know, my 15-year-old daughter knows. Here comes the slip screen to the boundary. What'd they do? Slip screen to the boundary to the 1-yard line. When they could not stop that, and you give up that big play on 4th and 2, and then very next possession, Daniels throws a pick where Neighbors slips down. That was ball game. Those 3 moments.
Well, and I'll give you one more. And I forgot who it was, but Daniels' coverage gets kind of busted. Daniels lays one perfectly, hits dude in the stomach, and he drops it. And I think the game was tied at that point.
And the next thing you know, it steamrolled after that. And look, you could sense it being down there. Florida State smelled chum in the water, not blood in the water, but full-on chum, and they feasted. But again, LSU is kind of like Clemson right now to me. Everyone's kind of go, oh, what happened? You know, they're done. It was a 1-year deal with Brian Kent. No. This team is going to be still a threat in the SEC West. So I would not discard LSU at all after that.
The original roundtable with Ian Fitzsimmons. I'm Lance Taylor. Disrupt Media. Where are you going this week, by the way?
All right, this was one with the ultimate trap game, and I could have called you on this one, but I didn't. So I'm gonna bounce back what I said earlier to start this show, where I could have used a text message. It would have been nice to put me over a number. I'd have been going to see Fat Joe on a Wednesday. Instead, I got to wait a week, right? I mean, it'd been nice. I was about $50 away from going and collecting. But anyway, point is, I had one, and it was Texas Tech at Wyoming. 14 points in a peek ahead game, man. You know, having lived out there, that altitude at 7,000 plus feet is no joke. So I was shocked that they jumped out to a 17-zip lead, but then they got complacent. So I've got Oregon at Texas Tech. Heat index at Kick's going to be over 100 degrees. And this one stinks for me, man. Meaning, hang on. You're going to be with me on this. When Vegas came out with Oregon only -6 and a hook, after Oregon just hung 81 on St. Mary's School of the Blind in Portland State, and Texas Tech just lost to little old Wyoming. They are begging you to take the Ducks. I love Texas Tech this week, and that's where I'll be.
I do too. And I'll tell you, over the summer, I did a stake bet with Dunaway, and I think I've got Texas Tech around 3.5 or 4. So I'm not even getting value anymore, but I still think Texas Tech wins the game outright. We do upset alert every Tuesday. Earlier today, my upset alert was Texas Tech. Last week, I had Toledo. They should have beaten Illinois outright.
Yeah, they
Rep
should.
Bielema, lucky to survive on basically a kick with seconds left to win that game by 2. But I'm right there with you. I think Tyler Shuck plays extremely well against his former team. I love Joey McGuire. He'll have this team, the mind ready to come back. I'm with you, though, on Wyoming. So I had Wyoming. It was one of my winners on Saturday, and it was 17-0. I was like, hell, this thing's done. And then it seems like one of two things happened. Either they started looking ahead to Oregon, or that altitude got them, or both. But to have that kind of meltdown up 17 when you're the better team, that was a bad loss for Texas Tech.
Dude, you came and visited me when I lived in Utah, man, and
it's hard to get bar to bar, man. I'm out of breath.
You're walking up. Hey, it's a true story. We were walking
out on that dance floor,
Upper Main Street, and my boy LT's like, "Damn, man, this altitude's no joke."
Real deal.
We made a pit stop before even getting to the top of Upper Main to No Name Saloon, which isn't even on the top of Upper Main. It's like halfway up Upper Main Street. Yes, there's a Lower Main and Upper Main. My boy LT's like, pit stop. I don't care what this place is. We're going in. I mean, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think it hit Texas Tech. That's why part of the reason why I love them at home, because, look, I live in the blast furnace of Dallas, Texas. We have not seen rain in 2 months. We have seen 100-degree days for 50-some-odd days this summer. Lubbock is hotter than the Metroplex. Get the Ducks. That, even though it's a 6 o'clock kick, trust me, it's still a talc-up gold bond night. It is not going to be comfortable. The weather, the elements will have an impact on Oregon as well.
You're miles from American Delta, whoever. I mean, they rack up in the fall. You're never in the same place. I can tell you're not in Dallas right now because there's no way you're at home watching tennis in the background. Where in the hell are you?
I'm at ESPN. I thought I told you I'm at ESPN. So after the game, LSU Florida State morning flight. Yesterday flew up here. We had the new show launch. It's Amber Wilson and I now from 6 to 9 Central Time on ESPN Radio. The new morning show on Sportsmanlike, and then you've got Carlin and Joe. You got Freddie and Harry. You got Greeny and my sorry butt, and then Q Myers following us at night. So they flew all of us up here for the show launch. You want a tour? I think I can walk this thing around. All right.
I don't know if you remember that story. So
I don't know if I might break this thing. Let's see if I can do this. Hang on a minute.
Between your first time at Jocks and then the next time you and I were together, I was doing a show with Tony Curry. And I remember Doug Gottlieb, who was doing ESPN Radio then, said, "Hey, man, I need a partner, and I like your style. Can you send me some demo tapes?" And I'm going to give them to my program director.
This is one studio right here. This is Freddie and Harry going to be in there. Oh, I can hear it. You guys in the pre-show? You got anything going?
Is that Freddie Coleman?
No, right over here. Hey, come on, hang on. He won't
is that Freddie Coleman?
You're about to be, yeah. Hold on, Harry Douglas from the Louisville Cardinal and a Falcon. Yeah, I'm interrupting your first meeting. Hey, what's up, AC? Say a little, Lance Taylor, my old co-host of WJOX.
Hey, Harry, I watched you the other day. Can Harry hear me right now?
What's up, big Lance?
Freddie, what up?
I can relay a question. They can't hear. I mean, I can plug this thing that you talk to them.
You got it now? Now I can't hear you guys. I remember Freddie came on the show one time and he read my bio and saw that I loved Scarface and the Ghetto Boys. I don't know if he remembers that. Hey, so Harry, I saw you the other day dogging out Dan Orlovsky because he wasn't getting his shoulders in. Funny shit. Okay, Ian, I can't hear you. You got to plug yourself back in. I don't have you right now. I can't hear you. So I'm sure this is great audio. I cannot hear you guys at all. Ian, you're going to have to unplug. Again, original roundtable, Ian Fitzsimmons, no audio right now because he's technically challenged like I am. He decided to unplug something. Do I have you back yet? Nope. Okay, here we go. Still working on this. Original Roundtable. It is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Again, football back. So is winning season. To get started, go to MyBookie.ag. Register for an account. Absolutely free. Make sure you put in that promo code next round. That free deposit bonus up to $1,000. Are you back, or you got to get somebody to do this? This is amazing. You make one little thing. All you had to do was plug it right back in from where you unplugged it. At least we got to see Freddie and Harry, though. That's a lot of walking there, man. And this is just ESPN radio. Anyway, back to my story. I'll tell real quick when Ian's trying to get replugged up. I was doing a show with Tony Curry. Doug Gottlieb said, there he is. Doug Gottlieb told me to send up, what's up? Send up a demo tape. I did. They heard Tony Curry's voice. They invited him up to Bristol, so he got to hang out there for a couple of days and do a couple of shows.
Good for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. I'm going to walk you down here. You'll like this part. We can get back to just doing the show.
Yeah, no. All good. Yeah, I want to get to the biggest upset of the weekend, which was prime time.
You think so? Not Duke Clemson?
I mean, the way Duke won, I mean, they ended up stretching that to a 21-point win as a 12.5-point dog. So if you go by numbers like that, as opposed to a 20.5-point dog winning the game by 3. So yeah, probably overall maybe Duke, but I'm more shocked by Colorado. I thought TCU would run them off the field.
Here's my boss, by the way, Justin Craig.
What's up, boss man? Good to see you.
Podcast. They wanted a quick tour.
When you see someone holding a laptop waving around.
And he doesn't know what he's doing, boss.
All right, you're right about that. Dude, I'm going to go Clemson Duke, man. And look, here's the thing. When was the last time TCU played somebody or stopped anybody defensively? What did they give it up their last 3 games? 180 points, whatever the heck it is?
Yeah. Defense not good.
So,
yeah, but still, I didn't expect that.
This weekend, when Colorado squares off against, there's like 88 different studios here, LT. But here's the thing.
Is this you getting your steps in today? There you are.
I told you wanted a quick tour, so I took you on a quick tour, and I screwed it up, obviously. Because Harry had some funny stuff in there, man. But
I bet. So could they hear me, though?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know why that happened. I have no idea. Of course, you're not going to, one of our bosses here just pushed one button, and bam, we were back. But here's the thing, man. TCU right now can't play D, LT. Go back and look at their last 3 games. They're horrendous. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska beats Colorado this weekend.
Oh, I think they will. We'll see how. And look, this was one of the best coached teams this weekend. When you see what Sean Lewis did on the offensive side, Charles Kelly on the defensive side, Prime had his guys like they had been in the program for years. They came out with a lot of confidence, like they were going to win the game, and they ultimately did. Here's the thing I didn't like, though, and I love me some prime time. What I didn't like was after the game, you can keep your receipts, but it doesn't need to be all about the media and you guys doubted us and you didn't believe. Talk more about, man, I am so proud of my guys. A lot of you guys didn't believe. We knew internally. I just thought everything got shifted. It was more about Prime being bitter towards everyone else. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. Enjoy the win.
Wow. Okay, now I got to get used to that part, man. An F-bomb and 2 S's and I think a sumbitch, right? So I have to get acclimated.
Yeah, I try to be better when we're doing the next round just because I know some businesses like to play it. So I try to back off a little bit. But on this, I don't know. I was just really pissed off because I'm pulling for Prime. I thought it was awesome. I got in the moment. I was screaming for him. His kid after the game, I thought it was hilarious when he was like, everybody talked about playing, Power 5 football. And he's like, I've never thrown for this many yards in my life.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Remember who Deion was getting into it with? Guy who covered him for a long time with the Cowboys and Ed Werder. So I wonder if there was a little.
Oh, see, I didn't realize it was him and Werder.
It was Werder. So
yeah, and Deion, obviously, he's got bad blood with Florida State too.
Oh yeah, what was that, man? I mean, and that was, by the way, a lot of former Noles that came up. They were on the sideline for Florida State LSU. They were kind of like going, man, what the heck? Like turning his back. Basically, a lot of guys felt like they kind of turned his back on Florida State, which helped him get to where he is now.
Absolutely,
any school would have taken him, right? But they were kind of hurt by that a little bit. But I'm
Dude,
telling you.
I mean, that's where Prime was created. Look, I
doubt.
agree with you. I mean, if he goes to UCLA, if he goes to Texas, he's still going to be prime time.
Yep.
But I mean, they put him in the oven, and they made the finished product that was prime.
No doubt about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska beats them. I wouldn't be surprised if obviously they win the game. I said before the season started that if he hits that 4-win total, over under on Colorado preseason wins 3.5. If he hits 4, he's coach of the year. Just go ahead and give it to him because it's a damn miracle. Well, they're 1-0, but he's acting like they're 10-0. To your point. So I'm wondering how much of that, they're kind of feeling themselves a bit coming into this game, or all of a sudden, Nebraska just shows up, punches them in the mouth. That's one of the games I am more fascinated to watch is Nebraska and Colorado because of everything you just mentioned. But one upset we haven't even touched on yet.
Before we go forward, I've just got one more point on Colorado. Do you still have your leg? I know it was, you were just walking around. I mean, your leg came close to amputation, right?
Yeah, very. 16 surgeries on the right one. Yeah.
Is it still jacked up?
Every now and then I can't feel my big toe. Sometimes there's an electric, bolt that goes, through the side of my foot where they took a artery and where's that camera? Yeah, artery and muscle flap from here and put it in my foot. Every now and then it's like the nerves kind of go.
So the MMA career is over, right?
Dude, I can't. Did you see me trying to jog to catch Mike Norvell for an in-game interview? I don't know if the camera saw that. There's not a lot of fun.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, I don't know what you do exercise-wise now, but I know the older I get, the more difficult. I'm losing strength. I'm losing a step. I just can't go as hard as I used to. And I sit there and I watch Travis Hunter. And I didn't know what the total play count was.
129.
120. I mean, he wasn't even tired. He wasn't even fatigued after the game. I mean, I don't know how you condition yourself like that.
In that heat. Again, Lance.
Texas heat.
That's in Fort Worth. At noon. Dude, I can't emphasize to you. I go out and cut my yard for 2.5 hours. And I am done.
Hand on hip.
I mean, just like
I need a nap.
Like, I want an IV. I mean, you name it. And this guy played 129 snaps, over 100 yards receiving, had a remarkable pick where he came off his man to pick the damn ball off. He only had 1 completion against him. Dude, that is insane. So you're right. Right now, everyone's talking about, Sanders as, put himself in a Heisman hype moment, over 500 yards passing. I got Travis Hunter.
I do too. I got Travis Hunter 1.
That was Herculean. I mean, it was remarkable.
I would put Sanders too, because I guarantee you Ryan Day in Ohio State, based on that performance, to be like, Cal McCord, see ya. We'll take Sanders here. At least he looked that good. What was the other upset you wanted to get to?
You pay a squad of around $1 million. You're a double-digit favorite, and you come away with an L. Texas State over Baylor. That one's flying off the radar.
Well, it was Dave Aranda. It was good year, bad year. And then it was like more people were like, I feel like Aranda's going to bounce back this year. And we'll see what happens. Blake Shapen's out, though. You got Utah rolling in with a backup quarterback. Utah's a better team. Again, that's kind of a smelly fish. They're only a 7-point favorite. So I don't know what happens there. I do feel like Utah is the better team. But, man, I can't figure this Baylor thing out.
Yeah, elements again, man. I mean, it's that's one where I think Utah, we saw them struggle against Florida in the humidity and the heat. They're going to be that you can't prepare for that. You can crank the heat up in your indoor facility as much as you want. You just cannot duplicate that blast furnace of Texas heat. But at Morgan Scalley's defense, man, those dudes are hunting sideline to sideline. I talked about it last week. They are legit. I don't expect Utah to lose to Baylor. I expect Baylor to go 0-2, and that's an upset that hasn't been talked about enough about nationally. When you pay a squad close to $1 million to get your ass whipped, I mean that's a bad feeling.
And do you know who the quarterback was for Texas State?
No,
TJ Finley.
Really?
The old LSU to Auburn
to Texas State.
Now he's a Bobcat. Yeah, and that's bad, man. I mean, I never saw good football out of TJ, but hey, congratulations to the Bobcats.
No idea.
Bad loss.
Absolutely no clue.
Bad loss for Baylor there. So back to Florida real quick, though, because you were talking about Scalley's defense and how physical they were. Billy Napier, the buyout's $31.5 million, whether it's today or in December. I don't see somebody paying that kind of buyout, but this could be like a disastrous season when you start looking at their schedule.
Yeah, I hope not, man. I like Billy Napier a lot. He was patient in handpicking that job. He had, when he was at Louisiana, he turned down a lot of P5 jobs, waiting on the right one. And I'm a big fan of his staff with Darnell Stapleton, and one of the best O-line coaches in football. Jabbar Jalou, go on down the list, man. I know you and I talked about that last week, LT. There's going to be depth there, none. So I'm giving him, through next season because that's one of the big problems we've got in college football, and not just college football, but to a degree, professional athletics also. We saw Steve Wilkes get 1 year at Arizona, and then they punted him for Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, how'd that work out?
Yeah,
right?
guy that couldn't even win with Pat Mahomes as his college quarterback.
Yeah, well, they had a great offense. They averaged like 58 a game. The problem was they gave up 68 a game.
Yeah.
So, and Wilksey, when he came in as the interim in Carolina, did really well. I mean, that was a 7-win team last year for the Carolina Panthers after Rule got fired. So I think patience can be a virtue. It's one of the ones that we don't have in this society anymore. It's one of John Wooden's biggest things when he was the head coach at UCLA is patience is your ultimate virtue. And it ain't there right now. But if I'm Florida, I'm going to be patient with Billy Napier because I think he's one heck of a football coach. And I think he can get it right. But the problem is, will the alums stand for it?
Yeah. Well, we talked to Chris Doering, SEC Media Days in Nashville about a month ago, and he said, look, man, as a Florida guy, I just hope whatever happens this year, he gets a couple of years. We've got to show some patience because I believe he's the right guy. It didn't look good last week, but hell, it's a long season. Before I let you get out of here on the original Roundtable with Ian Fitzsimmons, I'm Lance Taylor. You're in cowboy country. And boy, Jerry gets older. One day he's going to die. You just wonder if he dies with another Super Bowl ring. I don't think you're right. Maybe he doesn't. There's no telling what kind of blood he's got pumping through there that he pays for.
That dude's immortal, man. I mean, he's got Johnny Walker Blue in his veins. That stuff's like $400 a bottle, right? So
did you ever get in his hot tub or no?
That was something you asked me about years ago. And one, I would never get in his hot tub. I mean, there's zero chance. No.
How many? Well, how about this?
Here we go. I hate your hypotheticals. I hate them.
I'm just asking you, how many virgins do you think have been in his hot tub?
I'm not answering that, first of all. So to answer your first of all,
I'll go with a solid fist.
I'm not going near it. But remember, when I told you when I was at a Cowboy training camp, when I used to cover the Cowboys, and he has these two massive state-of-the-art buses, luxury cruisers, and he would drive all the media from training camp in Oxnard down to, at the time, it was to the Sky Bar in L.A. You've been to the Sky Bar a million times. And he would rent out that upper level for just the media. I mean, food, drink, you name it. And right when I'm getting on one of the buses, I went, man, I don't know if I want to sit down.
Well, there wasn't a black light in there, was there?
I
mean, if you put a black light in there, you'd see mini Caspers everywhere.
I mean, little minnows right all over the place.
Hey,
so anyway, that's the one story I'll tell you about where I wasn't the hot tub, but I was a little skeptical about the bus.
So Cowboys Giants Sunday night, NFL season kicks this week. If you're a Cowboy fan, I mean, that's got to be the most frustrated bunch because your owner absolutely loves the product and would kill, multiple men to make sure he wins another championship. I'm just saying he probably would do anything, sell his soul. Probably did for the mid-90s championships, but they just can't get over the hump. They can't even get back to an NFC championship game. No, what's the expectation this year, and how do you think the Cowboys play out in 2023?
Week one, it's always tempered. That's Cowboy fans. My wife is one. I mean, all my neighbors are, and they're just tired. They're worn, so they kind of wait. And then when it gets to an 11-win or 12-win regular season, I think even this year, it's like, okay, let's see, let's win when it matters. And that's the biggest thing for me with the Cowboys. I'm a Dak guy. I think last year was an anomaly. I think you'll see Dak from 2 or 3 years ago before his latest injury compared to last year. So I'm expecting some pretty damn special stuff from Dak, the two-headed monster at running back with Tony Pollard. I'm a big Deuce Vaughn fan. That's the other one that's back there with him. I know you and I agree on this. I don't care if he's a member of the Lollipop Guild and the Oompa Loompas, man. The dude can just flat out play.
Deuce Vaughn against Johnny Wilson in 21 on the basketball court.
You know what?
6'7" to 5'6".
You remember Muggsy Bogues checking Penny Hardaway, and Hardaway couldn't get the ball across half court because Muggsy was like a little ankle biter dog and he couldn't move the ball. So I give Deuce a puncher's chance as far as, if are we going, is it just one-on-one half court?
Just one-on-one half court. Take it.
Over. Nah, it's over. We're going 5-on-5. I think Deuce, if you had Johnny Wilson at 6'7" from Florida State, bringing the ball up the court, Deuce would give him hell, kind of like Muggsy did with Penny. But look, the Cowboys, we know what they got on defense. They're stacked. They got alphas at every single level. Dexter Lawrence, Micah Parsons, the Wolf Hunter, and Van Der Esch, Diggs and Curse on the back end. Man, it's not about what they do in the regular season. It's about what they do when the stage is grandest and the light's brightest, and that's in the postseason. And they've got to deliver sooner or later because Jerry may or may not be immortal, but if he's not, damn, man, he's going to go down with a fight. I promise you.
That's Ian Fitzsimmons. This is the original Roundtable. Disrupt the media. Tell your friends, like, subscribe. We're bringing it back from 15 years ago, and it is brought to you by Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board coming off the first winning weekend of many this college football season. We've got the NFL action. We've still got Major League Baseball. Jump on board. Again, we've got daily packages. We've got annual packages. Great value right now at Lance'sLock.com. You've got the bat phone. All you got to do is text me. I'll send you the plays. Everybody else, Lance'sLock.com.
Hey, how bad was my tour? I think the idea was good. The play call was outstanding. The execution was kind of like Clemson inside the 10-yard line.
It would have been perfect if we would have had sound for Freddie Coleman and Harry Douglas.
Yeah, because they were hilarious. Too bad you couldn't hear it.
Okay, get out of here. See you next week.
I'm going to work. Goodbye.
Have fun in Lubbock. Pull them through. Guns up.
I need it, man. Look, I'm going to do everything I can. But I mean, if you need me to bathe, I don't partake that much anymore. But if you need me to bathe in some West Texas tequila, stuff my face with the worst and best barbecue known to mankind, go and get Tex-Mex. I'll gain 15 pounds in 2 days in order to deliver this win because Texas Tech was my dark horse to make the Big 12 title game. So I'm with you. I'm here. I will do everything I can. No, I want them calling the game. Disregard everything I just said. I'm impartial. Goodbye.